experience by going to like mainstream university and doing what I wanted to do there, and then learn. I also, obviously, you guys would know anyway. When you go to university, you learn a lot about yourself, and you're just a part of the community, and you're part of the university life. The amount of stories you come up with, like from uni as well, and just from that experience, actually, I feel really helpful. Then afterwards, you can kind of decide whether you want to go down that route, and you can just dive straight in. So when I went to uni, by the time I was in my entertainment technology course, I actually, in my second year, there was like a sandwich course. So that I was supposed to go into industry. So I was working for a MTV production company as an intern for that year. After 2 months, they said, we want to hire you full time, so I dropped out of uni. It just made sense, because that's the kind of job I would be looking for had I left a year later, and I might not have got that had I left a year later. So it just made sense.
But you don't. So did you ever get to finish your degree then?
Nope.
Nope.
Didn't finish
it.
Yeah. Dad wasn't happy. But then I think he realised I was taking it seriously once I started my own company. Because then he was like, okay, so you're putting money into it, you're really focusing on all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think what I learned in the industry as experience-wise, just diving straight in. I think a lot of people that went to film school didn't even necessarily get as well.
Yeah, sure.
It's a different, it's like University of Life type stuff. So it's like, that was for me, I don't think you have to go for
I suppose the key thing here is obviously, the key theme is there's no one-size-fits-all solution. So I was working in the film industry, like we'll go on to the creative skill set website. There are 173 different job roles listed with definitions of what those jobs are. So a one-size-fits-all policy isn't likely. Do you think there's any common ground in terms of, for some people university and film school is definitely the right answer, and for some people it's not. Do you think there's any way of kind of identifying which you are?
No, but I do think there is common training that you can take that's going to be useful, and that's get a job in retail or hospitality or something like that, something customer facing or admin, because when I'm interviewing people who come straight through university and film school and they've not had any other job at all, it's really hard to tell them apart from other people, because everybody's had the same experience and everybody says they're passionate about film and TV, and there's nothing to tell people apart. Whereas if somebody's got hospitality training, or they've worked in a nightclub serving behind a bar, dealing with all of that entails, or we had somebody who worked as a concierge for high net worth individuals, and she wants to go into production and she knew how to get stuff done, or just anything. It just means A, you're a bit more memorable, but B, you're a bit more ready to hit the ground running in those entry level runner jobs where you are expected to be able to, serve behind the bar within the production house, or make the coffee, or get the sandwiches, or just generally have initiative and know what you need to do in the work generally. And I think often those skills are really undervalued by the people, but really valued by the people.
I think all training is good.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's case by case. I mean, you need to know. It's good to learn how to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where, certainly in screenwriting, anyone can write a screenplay. You can learn how to do that. But you learn to find a voice in the screenplay. By working in a pub, by doing what you need to do. But I think
I have a life.
Yeah, but I think, and I haven't been to film school. I've done a bit of teaching, tiny bit of teaching in film school sometimes, and they are really accomplished. They come out really accomplished at their craft.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because at some point you've got to learn that.
Yeah.
And there are rules for them, like you can mess with them and all that. That's brilliant, but you've got to learn it.
Sure.
But it's the stuff on top. It's you that makes you good or not.
And Rocehelle, in terms of people coming through advice and things like that, are you finding, how are you guys kind of sorting out this thing, training or film school or whatever? How do you kind of sort people out?
So when we ran a 1 week employability training for people that want to get within TV and film. Our main focus for people to identify their transferable skills. So as mentioned, admin, being able to be customer facing, talking to people, because at the end of the day you're going to be talking to maybe an actor of some sort, or maybe talking to different stakeholders within film. So it's always best to be able to pinpoint your transferable skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. And for you, Ntando? Did you do any of that sort of stuff? Did you work any retail?
I worked retail from 16. Worked in a scrapyard once. But yeah, I've worked in Aldo. Well, I've actually been
selling shoes.
Yeah, I've actually been fired from every job up until I got into film. Like up until I got into film, I was fired from every job. I worked in Aldo. I sold onesies at One Piece. I worked at Ralph Lauren. I did a load of those kind of. I worked with that was actually the best job. I never got fired from this one. One of my favourite ones was working with kids with learning disabilities, and I did that in the summer, and it was amazing.
And you didn't get fired?
Didn't get fired from that one. But what I got from those was tons and tons and tons of stories, as you guys were saying. You get tons of stories, and you get to know people and learn people, and you understand conversations better. And it's like, with what I find with people from film school, it's not to say all of them, is that because they've gone to film school, they have a sense of, I deserve to be here already, because I went to film school. But I feel like when you, and that's not all for sure, but like when I find that you haven't, and you've kind of gone through other means, it's like you're so hungry to get it, and you've got this angst to really try hard, and this angst to be like, I need to deserve my place here, which is a completely different type of workout. Do you know what I mean? And people see that in you differently, you know. So I feel like it's there's pluses and there's pros and cons to both sides. But not going to film school, I feel like you definitely have those things.
Alright, so you guys are you're all established and working on a regular basis, yeah? You know, nobody's starving to death amongst us, alright? So do you guys have a plan now in terms of being established and trying to think what your next step is, or how you want to kind of organise, the next year, 5 years? Do you kind of have a sense of that sort of stuff?
I feel like now, yes, I kind of do have a plan. I think as I continue to learn in my job, I start to develop more skills. I kind of know, I kind of carve an area where I'm like, okay, maybe I want to work within more programs, getting employability programs within creative industries, setting them up. I think as you grow, you'll start to develop a plan. It may not be what you thought straight away, but then don't be scared or don't be alarmed if the plan doesn't work.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Do you have a plan now?
For me, I want to be like an accomplished director of feature films. At the moment, we mostly do a lot of branded content and documentaries, and we do broadcast stuff as well. So we did like Channel 4's Pirate Mentality, which is a brand documentary. We did Sky Atlantic. We work with like New Balance, Prada, and that's the branded content side of stuff.
But at least there's a precedent for directors who do that sort of thing. And do music and videos and things like that, moving into feature.
Exactly. We work a lot of music artists, and some of them have narrative, some of them have narrative, dialogue based stuff as well. But I think one thing I'm trying to figure out how to get into the more short film, feature film world, and navigate that, because it's kind of alien to me. But we're getting there. And I think that's, but then there's the other side of it where it's like, I've come from a place where I don't come from a film background, so starting a production company was important to me, because then I could bring people with me who don't come from that background as well, but are just as important to the industry. So definitely want to grow the company. We've got crew in New York, Toronto, and LA, and we're trying to just sort of grow out a bit more and grow our hub, so we have more of us, just kind of around. Mostly working with young people, which is really important to us as well. And also we're trying to work with more women in the technical aspect, as well as the more organisational aspect of film. So like more female DOPs, more female sound recordists, and all that kind of stuff, because it can be a boys' club. And I've noticed that, so we're trying to work with more just a more rounded team, you know? More representation is really important to us. So, yeah.
Ash, what about your plan? You've got a feature film coming out in May.
Yeah.
So is writing features? Is that the plan? Or?
The first plan is, you know, that stays in the cinema for more than a day.
Yeah, sure.
I think the creative industry, you're driven as much by fear as you are by hope.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a kind of thing where you think, is that my last job?
Okay.
And it seems to be quite a common thing among writers, actors, directors.
Sure.
And actually, it's quite a good drive. I mean, I think when you're making, if you're lucky enough to make a living doing what I do, you're constantly looking at the next thing.
Yeah.
But as for a plan, I mean, you know, I like you. I have a production company, and that is something that is very important for me partly because my business partner is sat here, so I'm going to say that, but also because there's a structure, and our life is unstructured. It's chaotic. It's mayhem, and you know, you're at the whim of fashion. You're at the whim of commissioners of certain channels going, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this, or somebody's going to write a check for your feature film. Suddenly going, we've gone bust. Or, you know, so there's only so much planning you can do. You just got to keep going, what is it I want to say, and can I keep getting better at saying it?
Yeah.
And hopefully someone's going to want to pay you to say it.
Yeah.
But there's not much more you can do.
Sure. Do you find that's the same for people who work more technically, the sort of people you represent, or do you think that's those sorts of people like DOPs and makeup artists and production designers, do they have more of a plan?
Not necessarily, because they get sucked into just taking the jobs that come.
Yeah.
And I think you do have to be a bit more strategic and think, what do I actually want? And Sarah, who owns Sarah Associates, she often says that people's careers are more defined by the jobs they turn down than the ones that they take at a certain point. So I think you have to kind of always stop yourself. So is this decision taking me in the direction I want to go in, or is it taking me down the path I don't want to go?
Sure.
And just being a bit more mindful in the moment about decisions that they make.
Because one of the other things I wanted to kind of ask you guys about before we kind of start getting into some of you guys' questions, and I think if you think you've got a question you want to ask, but trying to understand the idea of, if you're thinking about getting into this industry and trying to understand what would your actual life be like, you know, so, you know, you think of kind of, when you think of writers, you think of like a dude, a typewriter by himself, you know, like for hours on end every day, you know. I'd imagine that if you're the sort of person that thrives of kind of dealing with other people, maybe writer's not necessarily the right job to go to, or maybe it is. And then from directors, it's almost this idea of, don't you have to be, and forgive me in want of another term, a bit of a dick? That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. In terms of, like, you know, the way that you hear about directors treating people and wanting things and the demands that they put on people, do you not find, you know, just what I mean? He's smiling like you recognise what you're doing. But do you know what I mean? And so it's like, if you're thinking, maybe you're too nice a guy to be a director. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I just wanted to kind of think about that whole idea of, you know, how much do you know about, did you understand about the texture and the actual content of the day and what your day would be like working in these sorts of jobs? And, you know, would you have chosen anything different had you known more? You know, if you'd known stuff now, what would you change? That's that was nearly a whole question.
I get that. So I think it's what Ash said. It's, don't think about it in terms of what's the job title, but who are you?
Yeah.
Because I think you can go chasing a title without, as you say, really understanding what that means on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
And it might not suit you. So I think the harder thing to do, but the more beneficial thing to do, is think about what really drives you and what gives you satisfaction on a day-to-day level. So for me, that is it. I enjoy making connections. In my job as development producer, it was making connections between ideas that we had as a team, what was going out in the world, and what the commissioners were wanting, and then trying to put those things together in a way that was appealing to the commissioning editors. In my job now, I put together people with mentors, or I put people together with courses, or I spot jobs that might be relevant for a particular person. That's what feeds me. People say you must be a people person, and actually I don't think I am. But where I get my satisfaction from is that kind of creative problem solving.
Sure.
Almost everybody I interview at entry level says I'm really passionate about film and television. I have been since a young age, but I don't really know what that means, because if you're a coordinator, which I was for a little while, I'm really good at admin and getting stuff done and being organised, but I don't enjoy it at all. So if you can kind of get yourself in a situation where you're doing something you're good at, but actually if you don't enjoy that, 40 years of doing that thing isn't a long time. So if you kind of try and understand yourself and then work out via the Hive list of 100 or whatever jobs where you might fit, I think that's probably going to serve you much better than deciding now I want to be a director or a writer or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's the best thing about being a writer?
It's just all good. I didn't know what it was like. I think actually working in TV and film is more collaborative than you might think.
Yeah.
I think if you're a novelist, I imagine you do sit in a room on your own for days, and then but actually in television especially, you're always dealing with the script editor and producer, the collaborating partner, and in film you're always dealing with the director and the producer, so it is more collaborative. There is a lot of time sat on your own, and there are things you have to sort of slightly come to terms with in terms of, you're writing about people you know, occasionally people you love, and you are exposing it a little bit, and there's stuff like that surprised me, that I started to go, especially if you're writing your own stuff, your feature films or whatever, you've got to be aware that a lot of your time is spent kind of digging quite deep into you and being honest about that. If you're just writing on a series, you just write on a series, and most of that time is spent in a writer's room with a lot of other people.
Sure.
And a whiteboard, knocking stories around, and that's fun. That's great fun. Stuff that the more authored stuff, you tend to be sitting alone quite a lot, waiting for someone else to give you affirmation. But yeah, I mean, it's the best thing about, I've always said about being a writer and not a director, is day one of shooting. Is the best bit, because you wake up at 9 o'clock and you know they've been on set for 3 hours. It's hissing the rain, and it's all because of me.
Yeah.
And that's the best bit. Everything else is just misery.
Yeah. What's the best bit about being a director then?
I think like when you're working with, when I was working with directors, as I was sort of trying to make my way through the ranks, you get some directors that are like the kind of arseholes, but then you get other directors that are actually really grateful that you're working on their vision for them, and that's more where that's where I land, because like I said, it's like I've worked with people up until I was a filmmaker, so then once I get to a filmmaker, I'm not all of a sudden not going to care about people anymore. Like, if I'm on set with people that are working on a vision that I've created or that I've put together with a writer, I'm going to be so grateful that they're helping me to do that. So it's like, but then it's, what you will battle with sometimes is like when you're speaking, when you're trying to get your vision across, and then your client's trying to get their vision across, and you're like, I can't get my vision out, I can't, and then you end up sort of having the sort of, you start to feel like this is shit really, because I'm not being able to put across what I want to put across. But I think where that comes into play better is when you're doing, I suppose when you're a writer, like Ash as well, when you're trying to put across your thing, and then you give it to a distributor, and they're like, oh yeah, this is great, and then I think that's a great thing. But working with brands and stuff, it's always their vision. Unless they've come to you because you have, like, because we're quite a young team, so it's like the reason why a lot of people come to us is because we are the market they're trying to sell to. So it's like they'll come to us and be like, what's cool, what's nice, what's this, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's easy for us to be like, do this and this, and they'll be like, alright, yeah, cool, makes sense, as long as it fits within our guidelines, that's cool. But I think on set, the main thing is treat everyone the way you would want to be treated. Like when I was on set, I knew how I want to be treated when I was a runner, and I know what it's like to be a runner. I also know what it's like to be a freelancer, and it's difficult. Don't know where your next bit of money's coming from. You've always got to keep marketing yourself, which is difficult if you don't even like talking about yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're behind the camera, you don't really want to tell stories about yourself. You want to tell stories about the things that you see. So then marketing yourself is another skill that you have to kind of learn. And I think being a director is, you have to actually market yourself, and I'm not very good at it. I'm still learning how to do that. But it's great. I love it. Like collaborations are my favorite thing. Like working with different kinds of people and creating something together. So it's like, yeah, I think that's the best part of being a director.
So there's a lot of collaboration. If you don't particularly like people and you wanted to kind of spend a lot of time on your own, what sort of roles would you want to be doing then? You know, for the anti-socials, do you know what I mean? When do you kind of get to do your own thing by yourself? It's all kind of, it's a team sport, isn't it really?
I think it is. Writing can supply that.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you write stuff that people don't want to make.
Yeah.
You can nail that down pretty easily.
No one will ever talk to you.
I think editing as well. Some editors work. It depends on this. You know, some editors. It depends on the director. Some directors want to be sat in the edit room all the time, and then others will just say, "Here's all the rushes. I'm back in 3 weeks." So I think that would be true. But I think, I said I don't really like people very much. It's not so much that, it's more that I'm an introvert, and I just find it quite. It takes quite a lot of energy to be around people, and a lot of my work is around people. So I have to counteract that by being on my own a lot, and I kind of get recharged by being on my own. Whereas a lot of people get recharged by being around people.
Sure.
So I think that's knowing what kind of person you are, and if you are an introvert and you're feeling exhausted because you've been on set all day, that's okay. It's normal. You just need to factor in some time where you can kind of just be on your own.
Editors, okay. Alright, so be careful what you say you want to be. Does anybody have a question at this point? Oh, his hand's done straight up. His mic's rolling around. Alright.
Hello.
Hello.
This is out to the whole panel, really, basically. As your directors, editors, writers, etc., is there would you advise or recommend just sticking to one if you wanted? Because obviously there are actors, writers, and directors all in one package, right? So would you recommend sticking to one lane?
Alright, so that whole thing, you hear about writer directors or it's triple threats. What's her name? Is it Brit Marlin? She writes, directs, and acts. Yeah. She's a triple threat. That's really trendy now. So what do you reckon? Do you stick to one thing, trendy, or should you do multiple things?
Again, I think it depends what your ultimate goal is. Because my background is in factual television, I've had a massive steep learning curve working with people who work in feature films. They're very different. So if you want to be a DOP in big budget feature films, then you start as a camera trainee, and for probably 2 years you carry silver boxes and you make tea and you do stuff with gaffer tape for 2 years. That's your job, and then you spend another 5 years being second AC trapper loader, and then another 5 years being focus puller, and then you might become a camera operator. So it's very rigid, and you absolutely need to know that you want to do it in order to do it, and the people who are going to hire you want to know that you want to do that route. They don't want to know that you also want to be a director and a writer. You can do that stuff on the side, you just don't tell, you don't have that on your CV. TV, factual TV especially, as a runner you might be given a camera and told to go do a recce and take some, shoot something of some contributors, which is what I did, and you're more likely to be kind of a multi, so shooting, producer, director, where you're doing the shooting and directing, producing yourself. So you've got a lot more creative control, but it depends whether you're the kind of person who can keep all that in your head, and you may not be. So it's so it just depends. It's what kind of life do you want, what are you a multitasker, or are you somebody who's better being focused on one thing and being a specialist?
I think career-wise, if you look at a career as opposed to just, I think it's one of the complications of the advancing technology we were talking about earlier on, because now anyone can make a film. Everyone's an auteur. Right? Everyone is a director, writer, and then they're in it, and that's brilliant. But if you want a career, I would try and, as I was saying, it's like work out somewhere near the thing you want to be, and then just get as good as you can be at that. Because there's very few people actually that are the triple threat. And they're quite extraordinary people. Sure. I'm not suggesting you're not an extraordinary person, but if you're just looking at career, I think get good at something.
Just keep the mic moving. Hello.
Hi. So I had a question for Ash. Basically, you know when you're like writing a screenplay and you kind of hit, it's not really writer's block, it's more like your confidence goes down and it's like you feel you're not doing it justice, and so you can't actually move forward because you just feel like it's just going to be awful in the end. What kind of things would you say?
Well, first of all, if you feel that way, you are a writer. So that's that bit done. I mean, I think it happens to everyone, and you get to a point in every script and every project where you suddenly lose a bit of faith, or you think, or you just had too many notes, or you haven't had any notes, and I think the only thing you can do, sadly, all you've got is your belief system, really. I mean, there are little exercises and things. I mean, I just keep writing if I'm in trouble. I just keep going, and a lot of that stuff may just be nonsense, but it means that I'm still on the process. If I stop because I'm having some sort of crisis about the script or whatever, then it's really hard to regenerate and go, right, come on, get back into it. I just write scenes that I know aren't going to work, that I know are probably wrong, but I think you find it's a bit like you just keep pedaling, and you'll hit your rhythm again.
I think you might keep pedaling physically as well. So I've written a couple of books, non-fiction books, but when I got to that moment where I found running was really useful. I could just go and run, not think about anything, and actually by the time I came back from my run, whatever the problem was, even if I hadn't really identified what the problem was, I sort of managed to solve it just by not thinking about it and going and getting some exercise, fresh air, coming back with it. So it's like distance, and your brain will work on it in the background, and then when you come back, you're a bit more ready to attack it again.
Right. There you go. Let's have what's going on. Thank you, by the way, the mic wrangling.
Do you think nowadays it's harder to try and make money, especially at the beginning, trying to get that balance of being able to eat and be creative and make your way up in your career? So kind of, do you have any advice in terms of how do you kind of budget yourself, I suppose?
For me, when I got into sort of the industry, I did 4 jobs at once, like just so I could do film. So like I would be a freelance photographer, because that's how I got into the world anyway. And then I was working at onesie store, and then I was
A onesie store.
we literally just sold onesies.
Is it still open?
Yeah, it's called One Piece. It's in Shoreditch, Park Park.
Of course, it's in Shoreditch. You buy your onesie and then you go to serial killer for lunch.
And like I was also interning at this production company until they offered me a job in another. So like I think once you work for a production company in the beginning, if you ended up going down that route, which I think is a good place to go to, then you're kind of okay. But then when you're kind of trying to balance everything, prepare for all your time to go. Like literally, you won't have time to do anything. You'll sometimes be like now. I don't sleep until like 5 a.m. most of the time, 4 a.m. Not saying that everyone does that, but like it's.
No, bro.
But it is one of those things where it's like, again, you're having to market yourself. You might spend 70-80% of your time marketing yourself and 20% of your time on set, if that's what you're looking for to be on set. And it's like, it can be, as a director, it can be difficult until you get to a point where just work's getting thrown at you. But honestly, it's more, I think, having a job on the side, and also you're still learning about people that way as well, and you're still having relationships with people and all that kind of stuff, and having a life. And on the other end, just really pushing yourself to do, film stuff. I think that way you can still eat.
Yeah,
I was
started soon.
I was told when I started out, when I wanted to be a screenwriter, I was told by a very successful screenwriter, the best thing to do is not work in the industry.
Yeah.
And when you're starting out, because you want these jobs are completely different than you were talking about. But as a writer, you're trying to find out what you do, what you say, and actually one of the best things to do that is to have some money coming in from something else, so you can spend weekends and days working that thing up, because that first thing you write is the thing that's going to get you a job or whatever it is. And what if you're doing it as part of a job, as part of money, you're already compromising it a little bit. You can do it later on. I think having jobs, what I do is really important. I only really was able to write my first sort of spec scripts when I had an income coming in. Otherwise you're just, it's a hard way in to do it for money.
I think the thing is, you've got to find a balance. If you're going, if you take a job, you've got to earn a living. If it takes up so much of your time and so much of your energy that there's nothing left to put into the thing that you really want to do, well then obviously that's not going to work. So you've got to kind of almost sometimes, I suppose if you're looking for those jobs that's going to fill in the cash, it's almost one of those things that something that you can do without it sucking all of the energy that you have to give to it, is maybe a way to do it. Something where maybe you just showing up, doing what you've got to do and leaving without necessarily having, some jobs are all encompassing. You go home and you think about it, and you wake up and you're thinking about it. And other jobs, you get there, you think about it, you leave, and you don't have to worry about it unless, other than to think, when am I next supposed to be at work? And maybe sometimes, if you're trying to write or you're trying to direct, maybe that's the sort of job that, fill in with it, just where it doesn't take too much out of you, so you've got something else left.
I did TEFL teaching. Teaching English as a foreign language. It was 3 hours in the morning, job done.
Yeah.
And then, and earn a little enough money to still need to think, I need to do something with my life.
Right. More questions. So we've got a little bit of time. Someone said, I'd say a little bit of time. We have to, let's keep going.
I was going to ask about eating though, as well.
Eating?
How it had to be. As a filmmaker. But okay, fine.
As fast as I can.
But I've graduated and I've done a runner and a voice production of it. I'm trying to move into writing and directing. But I'm finding that it's really hard to get funding to make short films unless you've made short films.
It's kind of catch-22.
So what do you recommend for how to fund your first short? Are there funding bodies that specifically do that? Because I know the regional random act stuff, the first act stuff's now gone. But how basically do I fund making shorts?
Right, so there are lots of different schemes in terms of Film London or this is probably yours, right up your street.
Yeah, so at Great Skill Set there are bursaries that are available and they're constantly changing throughout the year. So we do have one that's directed for filmmakers who want to do a course. So that's a bursary that's active at the moment, but that will totally change. But also, Film London. There's a whole list. If you go onto the Great Skill Set website and have a look at other funding sources tab, there's a list of all organisations that offer funding opportunities.
Yeah, I guess what I found is with Film London, that London Calling, they really don't give it to people unless they're quite established already in their career. So it's really that very bottom rung kind of stuff. Is that on the Hive?
I think the thing is that when you're if you're talking about that sort of film, then what you do is, based on the filmmakers that we talk to all the time, you make the film that you can make for no money. So you make the film
So like
that's
self-fund kind of thing.
yeah, make the film that's made out of the kind of the fabric of your life. Do you see what I mean? And you call in favours. Look, you guys know Rob. Everybody knows Rob Savage, right? So Rob's a director, and he's worked for Netflix and things like that. But on his first feature film, he harangued me mercilessly to record ADR in my back bedroom because I had a Pro Tools rig. Do you see what I mean? He called in the fact he didn't even know me that well. You know, certainly not well enough to be coming around my house. But he did it anyway, and I went along with it. So the thing is, a lot of it is that, but that's how we got that feature finished. Do you see what I mean? So the thing is I think if you're going to be if you're trying to get that first 1 or 2 short films done, then a lot of it is just working out the film you can make now, based on what you have to hand. All right, and part of the ingenuity of that is what convinces people that maybe you're ready for the next thing, you know. But if you're saying I've never made a film, and the only way I could possibly make a film is that if you bestow upon me wads of cash, then that's not the guy I want to give my money to, because it's like, well, if you can't come up with an interesting, clever idea with one character on a phone, then maybe you don't have what it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like if you've never made a film before and the only reason you're not making a film is money, then probably this isn't the right thing for you to be doing.
Nobody wants to make your film as much as you do, and nobody does. And so you do spend your life going, this is really important to me, and I think certainly at the beginning you're right. I totally agree with the RA. It's like you have got to beg, borrow, and steal. And you've got to ruin really good friendships. And you've got to, no, but you really, if you want to make it, you've got to do that, because it's no one's going to give you money. I mean, people don't give people money.
Yeah.
To do that.
But if you've not got money, make a brilliant 2-minute film. Make make the most amazing 2 minutes that you could make, because that will then convince people. All right, well, if you can do that with nothing, well, if I give you a little bit, then what could you do? You see, I mean, you've got to it's almost like you've got to prime the pump a little bit, and you can't expect straight out of the gate, having not done anything and not having anything to show, that people are going to give you money. What they might do though is lend you a camera that's better than the one that you've got. Or what they might do is let you use their fancy edit suite, if you're super charming, to kind of finish that off. Or what they might do is help you mix your sound or whatever. People there are lots of different ways that you can get the resources that you need to make a film that aren't just cash.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we attract the reflection of ourselves, and so it's like you as a really hungry filmmaker will attract other hungry filmmakers. So like you'll find with sound recorders, it's like, I just want to make a short film, and then you guys will pull together and be like, this is what we're gonna do. So it's like, and you'll all do it on no money because you all really want to do it. Do you know what I mean? And like if you found someone that has got he's got Pro Tools in his house. Like,
not anymore.
if you end up attracting people that are just as hungry as you are, and then you end up creating that. I think that's also where the most original and best work can come from as well, because you don't have the added pressure of shit, they're giving me money, so I have to make something spectacular. It's actually like it can stay true to yourself. You don't have to feel like you're pleasing anyone else. It's like you and whoever's as hungry as you are can just make this thing.
Yeah, just make a film that you can make within those parameters and come up with something that works within that, and then that will then, it's a very, very different conversation when you talk to people and say, I want to make a film, as opposed to, here's a film I made. That's a different conversation, and that's how you kind of move from I'm not a filmmaker to I am a filmmaker. By a little bit is showing what you can do with nothing and helping people to understand what it is that you're capable of. And it makes sense in the film business, because we're always talking about film scripts and filmmaking, everything, show don't tell. That's a big kind of thing that people say. Well, you know what? If you want people to believe you're a filmmaker, you're going to have to show them, not tell them. Okay? Alright, I've got time for one more question and we have got to move on. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the mic wrangler choose. That way I'm absolved of all kind of responsibility here. Yeah. So it's yours.
Thank you.
It's you.
So basically my question is, as a writer, you have always given this choice to make a film that is very sad, depressing, but doesn't hold the market value. And then there's this film that is very mainstream, or is very popular, or will go on Netflix and everybody will watch it. So how do you make the decision? Like, do you have to compromise, or do you just go out, make the sad, depressing film that nobody probably, or script that nobody probably wants to make? Like, what do you do in that situation?
Wow. Right.
Listen, all I tell you is I've got about 27 unmade screenplays. You've got. It comes a bit back to the previous question in a way. If you've got a burning passion to tell the story, tell it. Don't, at this stage in your career, don't think about market at all, ever. Because if you start, if the tail starts wagging the dog, you're stuffed. It'll happen to you later on once you've got a career. You'll spend your life having meetings and conversations about what the market requires from your beautiful little thing. But if you've got a sad stories are much easier to fund often than funny stories, because there's a sort of thing in the industry. Comedy is a very difficult thing to get right. It needs a different things. It's all difficult to get right, but most things you watch are very serious dramas. I think most things that get made, if you look at the list, are big serious dramas. If you've got a story you want to tell, just tell it. Don't think about the other side of it at all yet, because there'll be plenty of people telling you that later on. And actors, and that's the other thing about writers and directors. You have to think about actors. Actors love telling a story that allows them to vomit stuff up. They love it. That's why they became actors. And so you're more likely to get people who want to be that, because that's you know as Woody Allen says, you want to make money, you write jokes. You want to get awards, you write drama. And that's right. So, write your stories.
It's all right. Well, look, do you know what? Amazing. Well, not that amazing, because time runs at exactly the same amount, no matter what you're doing. But sometimes it feels like it passes faster, and that certainly the last hour has passed really fast indeed, and we are out of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, can you make a massive round of applause for this film, and then because I think you want to. No, come and sit down. Sit amongst the people. Ntando's like, do I have to sit with the people? Yeah, you do. All right. So every month, what we've done, we've teamed up with Hive to basically bring you a short of the month. They pick it, we screen it. Andy's here, it's his short, so come and join us, Andy. Give him a round of applause. So if you come and take a seat with me, we're doing any award shows now, see? I hope everything's a learning moment. So if you ever have to do an award show, I'll see you. So thanks for coming down, Bob. Appreciate it. And we're going to see this film a little bit. But obviously, we've been talking about careers. Tell us a little bit about yours and your kind of career journey.
Well, I went to uni, did economics and doing film.
Okay, this is really, really good. The premise of my event. Thank you.
And I did lots of running work, which.
So so you do a degree in economics, you decide I'm not going to be an accountant or whatever.
Yeah, I thought my parents wanted me to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And then, so I didn't want to do that, and then, because I didn't enjoy it either. Yeah. But at uni I started doing a few really kind of extracurricular, fashion films there. Yeah. So I filmed some stuff at uni. Yeah. And that kind of made me want to do more film stuff.
Sure.
And I started doing a bit of running work. And then I actually went to film school.
Then you went to film school?
Yeah.
How was that?
I'm still paying off the debt now. It's really expensive. So still paying it off now.
But do you feel like it was, was it worth, was the juice worth the squeeze?
I have this debate with me all the time about like why do I do that, because it costs me so much money.
Yeah.
And then one half of me is saying like, all right, I should have met loads of really cool people, which made me do stuff, and it also got me off my arse to do stuff as well.
Yeah.
So like for everyone here, they're off their arse already.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe
If
you
you're
don't
the
have
sort
to.
of person that is willing to kind of give up their Saturday morning to do this sort of thing, maybe you don't need it.
Yeah, because basically I was kind of scared, going like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do a film or not. Maybe I should do this course and do this. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not sure. And then it gives you like a safety net to do your film.
Yeah.
But when I left it, I thought like I could have just done it myself, because I thought like if I paid that much amount of money, I could have just used that money to make my own short.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like chicken and egg. I don't know whether that course made me feel more confident to make the film.
Sure.
Or whatever else.
No.
So.
Thanks. No clearer, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, on mine, mate.
No, I feel your pain. So tell us about making the film, because I don't want you to give away too much about the film, because I think people are going to enjoy it. But tell us a bit about making it and getting it done.
So I applied for all the kind of funding stuff. Didn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I just started Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then I raised like £1,000.
Okay.
And that was enough to like think, fuck it, I've got £1,000.
Yeah.
Let's just go out and make it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that I was going to get any funding, and I wasn't going to get as much. Like when you said, like, you know, you're just going to go out and do it.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had to just go out there and do it and make this film, because no one was going to give me money.
Yeah.
Basically. So I just raised it myself.
And where does this kind of idea for this particular film go? Because obviously, you know, you don't see. Were you around for the original Nokia 33?
Yeah. I'm old, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically kind of, it's all kind of based on my life, I think.
Okay.
So like I was qualified.
You was that guy.
Yeah, but I should have got Chinese person actually.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Missed an opportunity there, bro.
I know.
Don't worry. Alright, so look, this is a film called Ringtone, and Andy, you directed it and you wrote it, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's this month's Hive Short of the Month, so we're going to check this out before our break. Well done, mate.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.